My Andrew is doing so well, he's managing a condo in New York City. During Thanksgiving at my husband Andrew's family home, Nicole proudly boasted about her son to the large gathering of relatives. Must be nice, Andrew getting to have all the fun in NYC. He's not just having fun, he's working hard and living independently in New York City. Whether it's Thanksgiving or New Year celebrations, whenever relatives gather, Nicole never misses an opportunity to flaunt Andrew's success in New York City. Clarice seems to envy him, but Nicole always reassures her. Finally, Andrew wraps up the conversation with, "You're always welcome to visit. We've got plenty of money. You can stay for free." Andrew, perhaps a bit more talkative after a few drinks, seems to enjoy bragging just as much as his mother, unlike his quiet father Eric. But it's a carefree thing. I couldn't believe they could tell such lies right in front of me. The only ones who know where all that financial freedom comes from are Andrew and me, Emma. I'm 32 and an investor. Before marrying Andrew, who's 2 years older than me, I was glued to 4 27-inch monitors, a laptop, and 2 cell phones, day trading. But after we got married, I changed my trading style to spend more quality time with him. And now we're enjoying our newlywed life. We met about 6 years ago, when food delivery services were becoming rapidly popular, a godsend for someone like me, who was always staring at computer screens. For a fee, they'd deliver anything from a cup of coffee to desserts. And the one who delivered to my home was my future husband, Andrew. "Thank you as always," with a calm voice and a soft smile. He bowed, making his silky black hair flutter in the wind. At that moment, it felt like rose petals were dancing in my mind. Whether it was hot or cold, he never made a face. I found myself falling for him, and started to look forward to seeing him during deliveries. Truth be told, just seeing him was enough for me, but it was Andrew who made the first move. If it's not a hassle, may I make personal deliveries to you? That led us to exchanging contact information, dating, and eventually getting married last year. But there was a significant issue with our marriage. To put it simply, we were what society refers to as an unequal marriage. Even before we were married, my assets were already exceeding $100 million. Both my parents are investors as well. My dad enjoys breeding racehorses as a hobby, and also manages a ranch. My mom primarily invests in real estate, and travels all over America. They're both active investors still. Raised by such parents, I was nurtured to become a top-notch athlete in the world of investing. So, Andrew had moved to the city after graduating from a local high school and dropped out of college. He tried to make it as a comedian, but never really got his big break. On days without gigs, he worked part-time to make ends meet. Turns out, Andrew was living paycheck to paycheck, with no savings to his name. All he had was love for me. I thought it was no big deal since I could support us financially. We were in love, so why not get married? But Andrew's parents were dead set against it. Relying on a woman for financial support, can't even mention that to our relatives. No money for a wedding? Unthinkable. You see, in Andrew's hometown, the cultural norm was that men should be the providers, and women were to assume a lesser role. Andrew, without a steady job and low income, was considered totally unsuitable as a grown man. So, to get their approval, I decided Andrew should quit comedy and find a stable job. What surprised me was how quickly he gave up on his dreams of comedy. He chose me over his dream, and that made me incredibly happy. We quickly started planning our new life together. First, I sold my old high-rise apartment and bought a condo. Let's tell your parents that you bought this condo. Once it's bought, we wouldn't have to worry about rent. And since condos are cheaper than high-rise apartments, it wouldn't raise eyebrows if Andrew was said to have bought it. This way, we managed to show his parents that he was standing on his own feet. Eventually, Andrew found a job as a sales rep in a small business, and we got the green light from his parents. Marriage was finally on the cards. I'm sorry for not having the means and putting a burden on you, Emma. I'll start chipping in for the condo from my salary, Andrew said. That's okay. This is for us, after all. Let's be happy, I replied. Initially, Andrew did promise to contribute, but it never really happened. We ended up having completely separate finances right from the start of our marriage. I didn't know how much he earned monthly, and he didn't know my earnings either, but he probably guessed I made more and felt no need to contribute. I could roughly estimate his salary, so I never insisted on him chipping in. Aside from the money issues, our married life was pretty smooth. That was until that moment. Andrew, help me. On the intercom screen was Nicole, carrying large bags and sobbing, calling out for Andrew. Jolted awake at 6 in the morning, we rushed to the door still in our pajamas. Mom, what's going on so early in the morning? Eric's been terrible. As soon as she barged in, Nicole started telling us that she had a huge fight with her husband and got kicked out. She was tearfully asking Andrew to be on her side. Mom, what did you do this time? Andrew speaks gently to Nicole. Just spent a little money, that's all. Nicole looks up to her son in his 30s, trying to justify herself. Andrew sighs deeply. Please be home before I get back from work, he says coldly to Nicole. He then puts $100 on the table and starts to prepare to leave. Andrew tells me, you don't have to do anything for Nicole, and you don't even have to listen to her. Then he leaves. Stingy, huh? Only $100. Nicole puts the money Andrew left into her purse, mumbling loud enough for me to hear, clearly disappointed by the amount. By the way, this isn't the first time Nicole has been wasteful. Just the other day, I heard Andrew talking on the phone with Eric, who had discovered that Nicole had taken money from his wallet. Even quiet Eric seems to have lost his temper this time. He apparently kicked Nicole out of the house. And Nicole doesn't seem eager to go home. I was totally frustrated. Can I stay here tonight? She probably planned to stay from the moment she arrived with that big bag. I had work to do, and spending the day alone with Nicole was the last thing I wanted. Andrew said you should go home before he returns. I started. Come on, it's not a big deal if a mom stays over. Nicole insists, and energetically starts cleaning. I had a bad feeling about this. In the evening, Andrew comes home to find a table full of food that Nicole has prepared. He brightens up immediately. Nicole knows exactly how to lift her son's spirits. To a pleased Andrew, Nicole says, "I'll do all the cleaning, laundry, and household chores. Please let me stay here." Desperate Nicole got an okay from Andrew for a limited time cohabitation, without even consulting me. The only condition? Do not enter my wife's room, as she works there during the day. Andrew warns Nicole. He told Nicole that I work from home to keep her from discovering that I might be earning more than him. Considering Nicole's careless attitude towards money, I decided to keep quiet about my job involving finances. At first, Nicole seemed considerate, saying, "Sorry to intrude on newlyweds." But on the second day of living with us, she started showing her true colors. "I cleaned, so give me some pocket money. I'm going grocery shopping, so give me money. I want to get the latest oven range to cook tasty meals for Andrew. Give me money." I was stressed out by Nicole's constant requests for money. Why ask me for money? Why not her own son? Clarice would even order items online to be delivered to our house, intentionally making me pay. "Oh, Emma, I ordered a new bag we should share. So, can you take care of the payment?" I was increasingly fed up with the Andrew family. They were beginning to feel like parasites. By now, thoughts of divorce were coming to mind. To be on the safe side, I had liquidated all assets and insurance policies in Andrew's name. Since most of these were originally set up for Andrew's benefit when we got married, canceling them went smoothly. 3 months after Nicole moved in, an incident happened. I was trading stocks during the day. A company's financial results had been announced, and they weren't good. I was about to minimize my losses by cutting them, when the power suddenly went out. The computer screen went blank, and for a moment, I was completely disoriented. Rushing to check my securities account on my cell phone, I found it already deep in the red. I let out an involuntary scream. Hearing me, Nicole walked into my room and casually said, "Sorry about that. I was using the oven, boiling water, and vacuuming while watching TV, and I guess I tripped the breaker. Can you reset it?" Now, Nicole wasn't aware that I was day trading, but my patience had reached its limit. When Andrew came home, I told him I wanted Nicole out. "I can't take it anymore. I'm stressed out trading stocks, and she's vacuuming, singing, and today she even caused a power outage. What are you going to do about this?" I showed Andrew the screen displaying my substantial losses. "Wait, is that $80,000? "Yes, but it's a negative $80,000. Your mom's little stunt today did this. I'm done. She needs to go." As I was yelling, Nicole came running over. "You're the one who needs to leave." I was stunned as Nicole continued. "Non-working parasites are a real nuisance. Get out of this house." To which Andrew replied, "Mom, it's too early. I was hoping to get her to buy more expensive stuff. To be honest, I wanted to take advantage of her a bit longer." At this, my mind was spinning. Take advantage? What does that mean? Andrew continued, "You never really give me money, you know. Even though we're married, you're too stingy." He thought he could put up with job hunting just to get married and then live an easy life. Andrew was deeply disappointed. He had thought we lived in a glamorous high-rise in New York, like I used to, but we ended up in a lackluster condo. I was astonished to learn Andrew had such a perspective on me. The truth is, Andrew doesn't know what real wealth is like. Many people misunderstand. The wealthier people are, the more frugal they live. They may seem extravagant, but they're not. Even if they're moving a lot of money around, they'll think twice about spending a single dollar or even a penny. They even accumulate points and use vouchers. The truly wealthy may have money, but they don't waste it. I hesitantly asked Andrew, "So, did you marry me for love or just for my money?" Let's get this straight. I didn't marry you. I did you a favor. I used to deliver food only to high-rise apartments where the wealthy lived, aiming for marrying into money. Emma was generous with her tips, so I thought I'd be happy with her. But boy was I wrong. Feels like I got scammed. Nicole then interjected, "Ugh, you're so clueless. It's frustrating. Normally, when a wife is harassed by someone like me, she'd go back to her parents. But you don't even recognize it as harassment. Get a clue and get out of this condo." Nicole seemed to inflate with her own self-importance, breathing heavily with excitement. Trying to maintain my composure, I said, "You do realize this condo isn't under Andrew's name, right? Also, you've been calling me a parasite, but I'm actually a successful investor, making over $200,000 in annual dividends." This statement seemed to bewilder not just Nicole, but also Andrew. Andrew blurted, "What? I thought this condo was mine. You said you'd let me take credit for buying it. And what's this annual dividend stuff? Never heard of it. If you're so rich, why are we living like paupers?" I was astounded. I had spoken to my in-laws about our marriage, all while Andrew had illusions about owning things we hadn't even signed contracts for or spent money on. Can you believe people like that actually exist? Left with no choice, I politely informed them about our condo lease agreement. I then handed Andrew the divorce papers and said, "So, we're on the same page about divorcing, right?" Reluctantly letting go of his condo ambitions, Andrew grinned and said, "Okay, let's divvy up the property." I had to set him straight and told him that wasn't going to happen. Andrew had been making a fuss about property division and the divorce. However, since he never contributed to household expenses, I informed him that I would be claiming the $80,000 we lost due to Nicole, as well as all the living expenses over the years. Additionally, I clarified that the stock yielding $200,000 in dividends was separate property I had acquired before our marriage, and thus wouldn't be divided. Andrew seemed genuinely convinced that he would get half of my premarital assets. Of course that wasn't the case. After hearing me out, Andrew shouted, "This is fraud!" But I hadn't deceived him. I loved Andrew, but love doesn't mean blindly handing over control of everything. I had my financial bases covered for marriage. I was also super frugal and had zero intention of giving a single dollar to a man I was breaking up with. If you insist on taking this to court, I'll hire a top-notch divorce attorney and fight you head-on, I warned. Deflated, he backed down. Furthermore, I laid out the terms clearly. I don't want any alimony, but I won't divide property either. Andrew agreed, filled out the divorce papers, and, along with Nicole, left the condo. I immediately canceled all of his credit cards and sent all his belongings back to his parents' house via courier. And so, I successfully protected my assets. After losing his steady job, Andrew decided to try making money through YouTube. His channel name? Ex-comedian starting over after divorce and poverty. Despite talking about his flaws and failures in life, the channel was far from successful. Andrew had never been a good comedian in the first place. The result? A mere 23 subscribers, dismal video views, and what felt like a daily showcase of pure embarrassment. Meanwhile, Nicole found herself deep in credit card debt, scolded harshly by Eric. She was banished from the house and forced to live in a prefab hut in the yard, without air conditioning, and help out with field work back at home. Her once prized designer bags and clothes, likely gathering dust somewhere. Surprisingly, the $80,000 loss caused by Nicole was skillfully averted. Instead of cutting losses, I went with average buying and successfully dodged that financial bullet. I might not score high in love, but when it comes to making money, I do better than most. Later on, Andrew shifted his channel focus towards creating public nuisance videos because of stagnating views. How do I know this? His face and name were broadcasted on national news this morning, under the headline, "Public Nuisance YouTuber Arrested." Thank God I divorced him early. Just as I was mumbling this to myself, I heard, "Don't waste time watching useless news. Come over here." Sure. It's been a year since the divorce. Now, I've left New York and live in Denver with my new partner. I vowed to prioritize money over men after the divorce. Well, that took an unexpected turn when my father's racehorse won a major race. At the celebration, I met and hit it off with the jockey, and we're happily dating now. I once lived a life confined to my home, but now I spend my days at racetracks and making banners to support my boyfriend. Life is fulfilling. They say, birds of a feather flock together, and it's true. Being with someone who shares your values feels good. Sure, past divorces are nothing to be proud of, but I see them as expensive life lessons. I've learned and moved on, focusing on a brighter future.